Hello everyone, it is Bryan of Asante Capital Management, and today I wanted to talk to you about the four-letter word debt. This is increasingly becoming a more relevant subject because, well, interest rates have risen at their fastest pace in a generation. A mortgage that was once 1.75% is now 5.5%. So, should you take on debt? Should you not? Well, today I just wanted to talk about that. And as we well know, there are no good or bad decisions. It's simply one of trade-offs. Let's go up 30,000 feet. Debt brings your buying power forward. The trade-off is the cost of interest. Essentially, you are borrowing from your future self's income. And put this way, to me, it sounds terrifying. Like you're indenturing yourself to an uncertain future. But taking on debt can often lead to positive outcomes. Imagine, for example, that you weren't able to secure a mortgage for your first home and needed to save every dollar for the purchase. Well, you'd probably still be saving and renting. Or imagine that you weren't able to get that student loan for your post-secondary degree. Would you have the job and income that you have today? We can separate debt into two broad categories, and you've probably heard them before. Good or productive debt, and on the other side, bad or consumption-based debt. Productive debt, like mortgages, student loans, or business loans, all have something backing it, and they strive to outpace the cost of interest over time. On the other hand, bad debt or consumption-based debt are expenses or expenditures on vacations, cars, furniture. These are all experiences that evaporate economically. Philosophically, productive debt is a bet on yourself in the future, whereas consumption-based debt satisfies your current desires. Let's talk about retirement and debt. A 2018 Sun Life study found that 20% of all retirees were carrying a mortgage balance. And while there are certainly exceptions, this is not ideal. We want all debts cleared before you switch from earning employment income to that of generating retirement income. And the logic is, yes, financial. You don't want to be exposed to changes in interest rates or new debt requirements from the lender, but more importantly is the emotional side. This is already a challenging phase to wrap your head around, and adding on a layer of debt can only intensify the situation. Bottom line, make sure to align your payments to have all your debt paid off at retirement. Better yet, have it paid off 5 years or 10 years before retirement, just to have more flexibility. What about prepaying debt? If you had a handful of money, should you pay down your debt faster? The answer is yes, maybe, and potentially no. In the case of yes, we absolutely want to pay down debt because we want it gone before retirement. And maybe because the interest rate is higher than what you could otherwise earn in a savings account. Let me use some extreme examples to illustrate the point. If you had an outstanding balance on your credit card and you were paying 24% and the savings rate was 5%, it's a no-brainer to pay off the credit card. Now suppose that your mortgage was 1.4% and the savings rate was 5%, it would not make sense to pay off the mortgage. That being said, you would want to set aside the money, earn 5%, and then pay down the mortgage at renewal when rates may be higher. Now, these are simple, extreme examples. In reality, the comparison should always be done using after-tax dollars. This is the actual cost to you. And the after-tax cost of the interest may be lower than you think. Or the interest that you're earning may be lower than you think. What is financial flexibility worth to you? Well, you don't know until you need it. You don't need it until your basement has a water leak. You don't need it until your car gets stolen at 4:15 in the morning. And you don't need it until you find out that your roof needs to be repaired in the next 3 months. Even if all the numbers point you to paying down that debt, it can still make sense to have a cash cushion to pay for these unknown financial curveballs. Never underestimate the feeling of being debt-free. There will always be somebody who will tell you that it's in your financial interest to maintain a debt load. Still, there is nothing more liberating than being debt-free. I've seen it time and time again. Ask somebody that has paid off their mortgage. They can tell you the time and place that they made their final payment. Debt is not always a four-letter word. It is something that should be used with thoughtfulness and stress tested against unpleasant scenarios, like rising interest rates or someone losing a job. If you have any thoughts or questions, please give me a call. I'd love to hear what's on your mind.